we're no strangers in the dog world here to the idea that our job is really a people job more than anything.
Okay.
Right? We train dogs, but frankly, if there's going to be issues or if something gets screwed up or if there's some big dramatic thing that happens that's not good, it's typically the owner's fault. Right?
Yes.
Almost, I would say virtually 100% of the time, right?
Yeah.
And this brings up an interesting debate, right? That is constantly going on with dog trainers here, where it's the idea of, getting back to being selective of our clients and getting back to, putting all the blame on the owner and stuff like that. I always tell everybody, our job as dog trainers here is to be able to educate people and find the most effective way with the individual person in order to find success. Right? And we are not always successful with it, right? There are some people that are just kind of stubborn, kind of in their own way, kind of think they know it all already, kind of think that it's just the dog's fault. But I truly believe that everybody, if they are looking for help with their dog, I think everybody has already made the first step. Hang on, I got this video that keeps trying to play. There we go. That they've made the first step towards admitting that they need help. Right? Regardless of if they think the dog needs help or if they need help, they've already made that initial step in the right direction. Right? And my problem is I pulled up this article of the title of it's from Newsweek is Dog Trainer Asks Pet Owners to Do Better in Viral Video. Right?
Better, huh?
So there's this trainer. I don't frankly know who she is. Emily Mahar, whatever. She posted a TikTok video. Well, here, we'll get into it here. So professional dog trainer Emily Mahar recently went viral after posting a TikTok video asking pet owners to do better. She claims that the reason most dog owners specifically are having difficulty finding trainers and groomers is due to the simple fact that the industry is drowning, and as a result are no longer accepting new clients. She says the main issue for this is the actions and attitudes of pet owners, who she argues are causing their pets to suffer, and in turn causing the professionals to suffer as well. Okay, here we'll read her quote. There's a really big issue going on in the animal industry right now, and no one's talking about it, Mahar says at the beginning of her video. The issue in question is that pet owners are not properly caring for their animals and are blaming the professionals for their pets' problems versus taking responsibility. To illustrate her point, she begins by describing her own experiences as a dog trainer. My training facility is so unbelievably overwhelmed, she says. We are booked out for months for all of our services. To make an appointment with Mahar, a prospective client must first read through her website and complete a 50-question survey. They must then wait 2 months and pay a small fee to meet with her and learn whether or not she'll accept them as a client.
What?
Though this might sound harsh, she says she's instituted this system for a good reason. People will pay thousands of dollars to send their dog to a trainer, and they won't follow through, she explains. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into training people's dogs, and they don't follow through. I mean, this goes on. We'll continue reading this, obviously, but let's start breaking this down a little bit.
Oh, God.
Right? I have a really, really, really huge problem with dog trainers that put this much responsibility on owners.
Yeah.
Huge problem with it, right?
Yeah.
It is my job to assume that risk. And I should know. Where did she say here? It says, people pay thousands of dollars to send their dog to a trainer. They won't follow through. She explains, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into training people's dogs, and they don't follow through. You should be putting your blood, sweat, and tears into training owners.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just the dog.
This is it, right? So this is the wrong mentality, and this is why most of our clients that call us say, I've been to one other trainer, 2 other trainers, 3 other trainers, sometimes more than that before, and haven't found success. And if anything, they tell us about how all of those trainers blame them for not having success and we're really harsh on them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Listen, we fucking know that owners are not great with their dogs.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
And we could get into why that's the case all day long till we're blue in the face, right? But we already know this, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that why do you as a trainer think that just because you trained the dog that the owner is just miraculously going to change and be a different human being. Why do you think that? Unless you're giving the education necessary to the owner.
Yep.
Right? And then you get into this. Okay, make an appointment. A prospective client must first read through a website and complete a 50-question survey. They must then wait 2 months. Why do they have to wait 2 months? Why do they have to wait 2 months to pay a small fee to meet with her and learn whether or not she'll accept them as a client?
I know. Like, what are you supposed to do if she doesn't? And you just wasted 2 months?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. You're playing this holier than thou, and then my training facility is so unbelievably overwhelmed. Well, that's probably because you're trying to train everything yourself, right? And like, there's so many freaking dog trainers out there. Like, obviously, if you're planning on growing your, I mean, this is something we've done, right? Like, if you're planning on growing your company, you have to have more help to be able to assist with those types of things. Right? There's a reason why in the hospital system there's not just one doctor at every single hospital.
Could you imagine?
You know, like, there's a reason why at vet clinics, these big vet clinics out there have multiple vets working for them, is because they need to be able to sustain the influx of people coming in. And I'll tell you, most people want training for their dog, right? It's not like training is only happening because people are neglecting their dogs and not properly caring for them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of it comes from the fact that just people want to have a better behaved dog than they do, and they're starting to finally understand, because they're training companies like us that are putting out good content showcasing how much better of a life you could have with your dog, that they probably should invest in that, right?
Speaking of, loved that Mochi video.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
Glad he's boarding the other day, and I took him out, and I tried to like recreate that end video, and I was like, he still got it. Little Mochi still got it. So whatever. So she says, if a pet owner doesn't keep up with their dog's training when they're at home, a dog's behavior may never improve. So problems with listening, biting, aggression, etc. could potentially become long-term problems. Your dog is suffering, Mahar says. Obviously, if they don't follow up at home, these behaviors may never improve. But that comes down to then, instead of making this process of people needing to go and like do fucking backflips through your website in order to get in touch with you, you set realistic expectations, and you don't get stuck in your head. I talk about this a lot. You don't get stuck in your head about what it should look like when the dog goes home, right? We create, like, sometimes like if I look at what I expect my dogs to do, right? I expect them to hold a certain level of training. I expect them to do A, B, C, or D number of different things in their day-to-day, et cetera, et cetera. But I know all the things I do with my dogs, half of my clients will never do.
Yeah.
I hold them to a very high standard with stuff. But a lot of people's goals are not the goals that I have with my dogs. They have simpler goals with things. So by focusing on the actual goals they have, as opposed to making these things super challenging for them to follow up on, and figuring out what is their quote-unquote pain point as far as why they reached out to us in the first place, and then asking yourself, okay, cool, if their goal is this, it's like we talked about with like fucking setting goals here, right? If my goal is stop biting guests in the house, I need to then ask myself the question of, what is the absolute easiest possible way that I could achieve this goal that will take the least amount of effort for my client to do to allow them to be successful, as opposed to, here's the mentality that I would assume trainers like this have. What's the most complex and fair and appropriate and intricate way possible that I could get my clients to solve this problem, so that when they don't succeed with it, I could blame them for not doing all of the things that I told them to do, so that I don't have to take any responsibility for it myself.
Oh, it sounds terrible.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely
terrible. I mean? And a part of me kind of thinks with some of these trainers that like maybe aren't as qualified to work through these behavioral issues as they should be. A part of me thinks that like they're almost intentionally making these things as hard as possible for the owners to do, as far as some of the follow-up support, so that they always have an excuse to blame the owner for if they're not being successful, so that they don't ever have to be like, hey, it's your fault that this didn't work, right? I take the responsibility of knowing, at least with 99% of clients, that I 100% put my all in, right? And if they're still not succeeding, that there's probably something I didn't clarify enough, or didn't create a simple enough approach for. Right? And this is why, like, we have clients out there that the dogs are better, right? But they're not perfect, right? They're still having some issues here and there, but because the client knows I put my all in, They're happy. They've achieved a degree of success with their dogs, and they're able to accept the responsibility themselves without this big conflict as far as where their success is at. So, going on here. According to Mahar, pet owners who don't listen to their trainers give a variety of reasons for not doing so. In talking to other dog trainers, she's learned that people who disagree with the facility's methods will sometimes call the trainers animal abusers. Some have gone so far as to call PETA to investigate. And when a pet's behavior doesn't get better with time, the owners will leave a 1-star review, which can be damaging to a small business. I'll tell you, I've never had that happen before.
Yeah.
There's not all these freaking dog owners out there that are calling you animal abusers and calling PETA to investigate you.
Yeah.
Right? I've been training dogs for like 8.5, 9 years, and I've literally never had that happen to me.
Yeah.
And as far as the 1-star reviews, yes, we have 2 1-star reviews on our page, and we're not going to get super deep into it. So everybody knows, I know that they're fake reviews.
Yeah.
You could read my replies back to them, and you will understand that they are fake reviews, and especially the fact that they were written literally within 12 minutes of each other. We know they're freaking fake reviews. Whatever. This doesn't happen. Right? And also the fact that they interviewed other trainers as far as finding a variety of reasons why dog owners don't listen. Here's the thing. Go ask some of the dog owners.
Yeah.
Ask some of your clients that weren't successful, why didn't you follow through, or why did you feel you weren't successful with our training approach? Yeah. Right? And get some insight. Figure out. This is why I ask people that have worked with other trainers before. I was like, what do you think went wrong? What was so difficult about it? And I'll tell you what the most common things that we hear from people are. It was too complicated. Our trainer was extremely mean and harsh to us anytime we came in and didn't do everything as perfectly as was expected of them.
Yeah.
Or they just didn't understand, right?
Yeah.
They didn't get any follow-up support. A lot of times it was with board and trains where they got 0 follow-up support from people and just didn't know how to succeed then after that.
Yep.
Right? So listen, these are the same people that come to our facility and have success post-training, right? And it's because we were able to take those bits of information in from people. We were able to take the inconsistencies they were confused about and clarify those things for them. And we were able to have some empathy and some kindness to the fact that these people are not professional dog trainers.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
Moving on. But trainers aren't the only professionals within the pet industry experiencing this problem. She goes on to share that a groomer in her area has not accepted new clients in 3 years.
Okay.
I know grooming facilities that are no longer accepting walk-ins because people are pissed that their golden doodle gets shaved when they're the ones who don't brush their dog. Not properly grooming a dog can lead to painful matted fur. Listen, we also know people are going to get these freaking dogs and they're not going to brush them sometimes. We know this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Is that the owner's fault? Yes, it's the owner's fault. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Right? They should groom their dog. But you're just not accepting clients to come in and letting them just sit there with their dog that is not groomed, that has painful matted fur. You're getting too jaded of the industry that you're in. Come on. Poor reviews and angry clients cause professionals to suffer, Mahar says. In her opinion, the only way to fix this problem is to create higher standards for pet owners. Just because you're putting a roof over your dog's head and you're feeding them and they have medical care does not mean that they're still not neglected. Newsweek reached out to Mahar for comment, but did not hear back from her in time for publication. TikTokers were quick to praise Mahar for her comments. Amen, said one commenter named Sarah. I've been working in pet services for over 3 years, and it's mind-blowing how little pet owners usually do and know. You are right, agreed another commenter. People want decorations, toys. They don't want a living animal that requires hard work and comes with frustrations.
Okay. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, boy. And then they put a update in the bottom of it. They said, the story has been updated to reflect that Mahar's facility has not received poor reviews due to upset dog owners or heard from PETA. However, other facilities have.
Oh, okay. Then
So she's doing everything great.
Why'd she even say it then?
I know. This is the thing, right? I read types of things like this because I forever, one of our colleagues, Solid Canine Training, Jeff Gelman out in Rhode Island, he's a very, very Instagram popular dog trainer. He talks a lot about how he is team people, right? Listen, we love dogs. We're here to help dogs. We're here to help dogs and owners live a better, more inhabitable life, right? But I'm team client as far as I see so much of this stuff from dog trainers out there that are just bashing on owners and just making them feel like absolute dog shit for not being able to achieve the success that we expect them to achieve, right? If more emphasis and more energy went into how can I help them be successful as opposed to how can I take less responsibility and less blame myself, we wouldn't be having problems like this, you know?
No.
Again, I've been in this industry for a long time. This girl looks like she's pretty young per this video that I'm looking at right now. I've never felt this way about my clients.
Yeah.
I've never felt this way of it's all your fault. Basically, like this is like her basically saying I hate my clients. My clients suck because they don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like, get out of this industry then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This industry isn't for you. This is a hard industry. You're literally shifting entire lifestyles of people. You're teaching them completely new ways.
Yep.
You know? And it's not easy.
No.
And there's emotions that go with it.
A lot.
And there's going to be setbacks. And there's going to be people that don't do what you ask them to do. Not because they don't want to do it, because it's so new and so different for them. And it's going to take time for them to develop those skills and those habits. And if you're going to get jaded like this towards that industry, you're never going to find success with that kind of stuff. You know? And it's not that you're never going to get jaded. It's not that I'm never going to be like, God, I wish you would have done this. God, I wish you would have done that. That was such a stupid thing that you did right there. But you have to take a step back and you got to realize that's what you signed up for.
Yeah.
That's it. And it will never change. No amount of that will ever change.